What is up, guys? Welcome back to Tidal Gardens. So I've got a little bit of a story for you guys today. A very, very long time ago, I purchased a sump from Lifereef. And by a long time ago, I mean something like 20-something years ago. It was a custom sump. My idea at the time was to have a dump bucket style algal turf scrubber in the design of like inland aquatics. So this is going like way back in the day. Anyway, so I used that sump for 10 years. And after that, I had sold it to a friend. And here I was putting together a new quarantine system because one of the big bottlenecks, at least as far as the operations here goes, we want to quarantine more corals coming into this building. That's a huge time constraint because we quarantined for so long. So we actually need just more quarantine capacity. So I'm setting up a new tank just for that, but I needed a sump. And there's long lead times for a lot of larger sumps, a lot of custom sumps. I didn't really feel like using just a standard glass aquarium. Wasn't really feeling that. I was thinking, I wonder if my friend still has that sump that I sold him all those years ago. Because if he still has it, I'm pretty sure he's not using it. I reached back out to him, and it turns out that he does, in fact, still have that sump, and I bought it back from him. Again, the timeline is I bought this sump 20 years ago. I used it for 10 years, sold it to him. He never used it for the next 10 years. And then finally, it's back in my hands. All things considered, this sump really isn't in that bad a condition. There's definitely some scratches over the years. I mean, guys, it's 20 years old, right? I keep on saying that, but really. Acrylic is also buttery soft. I expect a lot of damage. Structurally, this thing was built like a fortress. If you guys are familiar with Lifereef at all, it's a company that goes way back, obviously. And they're still in business now, I believe. Everything is like handmade. It's super, super robust. This particular sump has a whole bunch of weird little chambers. I mean, things were just done differently back then. I think that there's a lot more of a not a standard design, but there's a lot of consistency in sump designs now. Whereas back then, it was kind of like the Wild West as far as design goes. And this particular sump, again, was designed to hold an algal turf scrubber, which I also still have, but I'm not planning on using here. So that's why you see these two support brackets. What I'm using to clean up is the Novus 123 cleaner. The Novus 1 is more or less kind of like an acrylic safe Windex. It's kind of nice because it's very gentle on the acrylic and it's a nice thing just to wipe stuff up with. The Novus 2 and 3 are different grits of kind of like a polishing compound. I basically skip Novus 2 almost exclusively. I just go right to 3, and it's not even really that abrasive, but it's just abrasive enough that it will take out some of like the smaller scratches. There is one really crummy part of this sump. When I initially set it up, I never took off the bottom protective paper adhesive. And let's just say over the decades, it has really dried out and just become a part of this sump. In this video, I'm going to attempt to not only refurbish and repolish this sump up, but also to finally remove that paper bottom. Now, my goal with refurbishing the sump is not to take out all the scratches. Some of them are deep gouges. I just don't want it to look absolutely terrible. Also, there's only so much benefit you get from making a sump like this perfect, because it's going to get a little bit messed up again, and a lot of the work I'm going to be doing is on the bottom of this sump. It's really a lot of work for very little payoff, in my opinion, but I did want to get this guy presentable and cleaned up. Now, if you wanted to put in a ton of elbow grease, you could start with a heavier grit sandpaper to really take out those gouges at first, and then go with progressively finer and finer and finer sandpaper, to then finally working with the Novus 123 stuff. And if you did that, then this sump would come out absolutely spotless. But even with me just doing this rudimentary polish, you'll see a pretty substantial before and after. These time-lapse videos, they're always a little deceptive, because it's like, oh, it makes it look so easy. This was over the course of about 6 hours. So my arms are absolutely fried. Like this evening, I'm pretty sure that my arms are going to feel dead. Tomorrow, I'm probably not going to really want to get up in the morning. I'm sure that my cats are going to try to wake me up. And when I don't get up, they're probably doing their little mental cat math and like thinking, yeah, we'd better eat this guy while he's fresh. Anyway, guys, the takeaway from this is, although acrylic isn't necessarily one of my favorite materials, I prefer glass to a large degree, there is a couple of huge benefits, one of which is you can practically bring a sump like this back from the grave, because you can completely refinish it, whereas you don't really have that ability with glass. And I think that especially with cleaning up the bottom of this sump, it goes to show you this is kind of like a worst case scenario. Like this is as much damage that you could possibly do. I mean, it's like caked on multi-decade adhesive. It's gross. And still, we were able to get it to a place where this sump is now presentable. All right, guys, that is it from here. I'll see y'all next time. Happy reefing.